So we've gathered our plans from Monday to have our radial designs. We have a piece of thicker cardstock, this navy dark blue cardstock that we're going to use for our base. And then inside of your 4th grade quarter 2 art folder, you have some wonderful things. We're not ready to use all of them yet. You have some construction paper. So I'm going to take out the construction paper and move my folder out of my way. So the first thing I want to do is to establish the center of my base paper. So we found the center of our plan by folding, but we don't want to fold and crease our nice base paper. So before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and write my name on what I'll establish as the back of my paper. It's a good habit to get in, even if you're working from home, and especially if you're at school. And then I want you to follow along with me. Remember, this is not a video for you to watch the whole thing and then get started. I want you to follow along with these steps as I go. And of course, it's a video, so the nice thing about that is if I'm going too fast, you can pause and get caught up. Lay your plan on top of your square and make sure that you have everything lined up, like not crooked. And when you've found that you have lined it up, go to the middle of your plan and quite hard with your pencil, make a dot. And when you do that hard on your pencil, with pencil in the middle of your paper, and you remove it, you are going to see that you have created kind of a little dot, and you probably can't even see it on the camera, but I can see where the light's hitting it. And I'm going to take my pencil and just darken that up to show this is the very center of my paper, of my collage. So next thing I'm going to start to do is pick what colors I want to use where. Collage is cutting and gluing paper. So I'm going to try to be systematic. That means doing something with a plan, not just randomly saying, I'm going to do this square and then I'm going to come down here and do this oval. Have a plan. Because you have done something with radial symmetry, you're going to need multiple copies of the same shapes or image, whatever it is that you chose. So I'm going to start with this first triangle. And you know what? I think I'd like to do that with gray. And so I know that I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need 8 of those little gray triangles. And I can also tell that those triangles aren't very much bigger than the tip of my thumb. So what I'd like to do for myself is cut two thin strips from my gray construction paper. That's 2 pieces. If I cut it in half again, that's 4 pieces, right? And if I stack those and snip them one more time, how much will I have? Art and math are closely related. That's right, I'm gonna have 8 pieces. So now that I've got 8 little pieces of gray construction paper, and I know that I'm going to want 8 triangles, all I have to do is draw the triangle that I want on the top of one piece. And I'm gonna make it even easier for myself by putting it close to the bottom so that it's all lined up. Okay, so there's my triangle. And when I cut it, stacked all together, I'm going to get 8 copies. Now, I have a really pretty strong pair of scissors, but if your scissors don't cut so well, you might just take half of your stack and cut it. And then don't throw that away. You might use it for something else. I'm gonna just set that over to the side. Then I could take one that I've cut out and trace it again. It's hard to pick up paper when your fingernails are short. All right, so then I can cut the rest of it. But if your scissors are strong enough to cut 8 pieces at a time, you could try it. Just sometimes it can slide and the ones on the top can be a different size than the ones on the bottom. So now I've got my pieces, and I did have this one that I drew on, but guess what? I'll just flip it over and use this side showing. So I have the pieces cut out for the middle of my radial design. And you're going to want to pay attention to your time. So I don't think, for me personally, that it would be a good idea for me to get all of my pieces ready, because I probably won't have time to get them all cut and all glued down in my 30 minutes I've got today. So I might choose to cut out maybe 2 shapes. I'm gonna do this one and then maybe the ovals, and then get those glued down before I start cutting out more. Because if you cut out everything first, and then it's time to clean up, where are you gonna be putting all these little tiny pieces where you know they won't get lost or misplaced? So only cut out what you know you have time to glue down, and you've got 2 days to work on this. So go ahead and get started cutting your pieces out and then arranging them around your center point, and you've got your plan to reference. So I'm gonna start mine. And you know what, I kind of want a reference line. I'm going to come to that center point and trace a line going straight up and down. And what's nice is I'm using pencil, which is gonna be so light, it probably won't even show up in the video. And I can erase my lines later. So I think if you want to draw guidelines on there, you can. It can make it easier for you. And notice I'm not using a ruler, I'm just using the edge of my paper. And do it really, really light, because most of what you have drawn is going to get covered up with paper, but you want to be able to erase that light line if you choose to put some lines on there to mark where you're at. Okay, so I'm going to get ready now looking at my plan. I notice I've got these triangles point down, and they're going to be going like this. And I'm going to just glue them down as I go. I don't personally like the way that glue stick leaves kind of shiny trails on our paper if we glue directly on it. So I instead am going to slide, because these pieces are small, I'm going to just slide them over the tip of my glue stick. And then if you've got a scrap piece of paper, you can just kind of wipe the extra glue off if you get any on your fingers. And that way I won't have like shiny glue trail on my paper. Okay, so you'll start to cut and glue your pieces onto your quilt square. And this is the collage part of it. Remember, quilts are kind of a sewn collage. So we're doing a version that we can with the materials we've got right now. Make sure you're using this time now to work on cutting and gluing down your collage pieces. The rest of this video will play with music if you'd like to see a sped up version of Miss Herring finishing my work, but you should be working during this time too. In all, I worked for about 40 minutes on my collage and I was going as fast as I could. This video is shorter because I sped up the time frame and cut some of it out, but just know that I spent more time on it than what you're seeing here, and I expect for you to use your time Thursday and Friday to work on your collage too. So I've finished two kind of rings of my pattern, and I'm going to move on to this triangle here. I want it to be gray as well, and I saved all that scrap paper for my other triangle, and it's already cut into 8 pieces. So that's a great way to reuse all of your little scrap pieces because the amount of construction paper you have might be limited. If you're cutting a thick stack of paper, it's good to cut with the back of your scissors, not the tips. And you really have to press your paper hard to hold it in place.